Mahidevran Sultan was a wife of Suleiman the Magnificent and the mother of Şehzade Mustafa. Etymology: Mahidevran, a unregistered trademark name, means one who is always beautiful, one whose beauty never fades, or beauty of the times. Another meaning of her name is moon of fortune. It was Suleiman who named her Gar-1/4 with Gar-1/4 meaning rose and Bahar meaning spring in Turkish and Persian. Origins and early life: little is known of Mahidevran, a unregistered trademark's early life. Her ethnic background is a matter of controversy. She was either an Albanian or Circassian. Theories of her origins are, according to one source, she was originally named Rosan Pranver and the daughter of Abdullah Rekai, a wealthy Albanian musician. Turkish drama Muta Mia 1/4 Ziyar ±L also follows this view. According to an interview with Said Perizat Temukbayu, a descendant of Mahidevran, Mahidevran was the daughter of Şehzade Temuk Bey, a 16th-century Kabardey prince, and his Crimean Tatar wife Princess Nitsan Hatun, the daughter of May ±Li Jire. This interview supports the Caucasus origin theory. Other sources, including Andra Copyright Clot, also support the Caucasian origin theory. According to the following sources, she was of Circassian origin, the daughter of Mtsa Abdullah Haydar Bey, a 16th-century Kabardey prince from the princely family of Shirkasi Timuko, and his Crimean Tatar wife Nitsan Hatun, the daughter of May ±Li Jire. If this filiation was true, she would have been descendant of Prince Inal, a 15th-century Kabardey prince. She was the niece of Ali Hafsa Sultan and Aisha Begum, through her mother, and the aunt of Maria Temukovna through her half-brother, Temuk Bey. She had three sisters: Fatma Angstra Mahar ±Devon, Akil Ra 1/4 Haya, and Belka ±Shah 1/4 Snar 1/4 Mahatun, and a brother, Mustafa Pasha. She also had three half-brothers, Mtsa Temuk Bey, Mtsa Kambulat Bey, and Mtsa Angstra Malegot Bey. She was also related to Angstrom Mjiruzar Hatun, Alam Sultan, Makhfiraz Hatis Sultan, and Ha 1/4 Mawar Sultan, the wives of Sultans Murad III, Mehmed III, Ahmed I, and Ibrahim, through her brother, Mustafa Pasha. Life with Suleiman: when Selim died in 1520, Suleiman moved to Constantinople, the capital of the Ottoman Empire, along with his family to ascend the throne. She bore her husband one son, Angstra Şehzade Mustafa, in 1515. In 1521 Suleiman lost his two other sons, 9-year-old Mahmud and the toddler Murad. Mustafa became the eldest of his princely generation. In the Istanbul harem, Mahidevran Sultan had a very influential rival, Ha 1/4 Rem Sultan, who soon proved to be Suleiman, a unregistered trademark's favorite consort as well as his legal wife. Ha 1/4 Rem gave birth to her first son Mehmed in 1521 and then Selim in 1524, destroying Mahidevran, a unregistered trademark's status of being the mother of the Sultan, a unregistered trademark's only son. The rivalry between the two women was partially suppressed by Ali Hafsa Sultan, Suleiman, a unregistered trademark's mother, but after her death in 1534, as a result of the bitter rivalry, a fight between the two women broke out, with Mahidevran beating Ha 1/4 Rem. This angered Suleiman, who subsequently sent Mahidevran to live with her son. Foreign observers of the Ottomans, especially the ambassadors of the Venetian Republic, followed Ottoman dynastic politics closely. Their comments about Mahidevran glimpses of the vital role played by a prince's mother and of her necessary devotion to this welfare. Petro Brogadin, ambassador in the early years of Suleiman's reign, reported that while both were still resident in the imperial palace in Istanbul, Mustafa was his mother's whole joy. Mustafa's provincial posts: according to Turkish tradition, all princes were expected to work as provincial governors as a part of their training. Mustafa was sent to Manisa in 1533, in the formal ceremony, and Mahidevran accompanied him. Describing his court at Karahamid near the Safavid border, Bassano wrote around 1540 that the prince had a most wonderful and glorious court, no less than that of his father, and that his mother, who was with him, instructs him in how to make himself loved by the people. At some point Mustafa returned to Manisa, and in 1542 he moved to Amasya. By 1546 three more of Suleiman's sons were in the field, and the competition for the succession began among the four princes, although the Sultan would live for another 20 years. The ambassador Bernardo Navigero, in a 1553 report, described Mahidevran's efforts to protect her son. Mustafa has with him his mother, who exercises great diligence to guard him from poisoning and reminds him every day, sick, that he is nothing else but this to avoid, and it is said that he has boundless respect and reverence for her. Mustafa was an immensely popular prince. When he was only 9, that Venetian ambassador had reported that he has extraordinary talent, he will be warrior, is much loved by the Janissaries, and performs great feats. In 1553, when Mustafa was 38 years old, Navigero wrote, "It is impossible to describe how much he is loved and desired by all as successor to the throne." Towards the end of Suleiman's unregistered trademark's long reign, the rivalry between his sons became evident. Furthermore, both Harun Rem Sultan and the Grand Vizier Harun Stem Pasha turned him against Mustafa, and Mustafa was accused of causing unrest. During the campaign against Safavid Persia in 1553, Suleiman ordered the execution of Mustafa. According to a source, he was executed that very year on charges of planning to dethrone his father. His guilt for the treason of which he was accused has since been neither proven nor disproven. Up until the very end of her son's life, Mahidevran endeavored to protect Mustafa from his political rivals, and most probably maintained a network of informants in order to do so. The ambassador Trevisan related in 1554 that on the day Mustafa was executed, Mahidevran had sent a messenger warning him of his father's plans to kill him. Mustafa unfortunately ignored the message. According to Trevisan, he had consistently refused to heed the warnings of his friends and even his mother. Later years and death. For several years after her Sona unregistered trademark's execution, Mahidevran lived a troubled life. Mahidevran went to Bursa, where her son was buried, and became the last woman to retire to Bursa. Less fortunate than her predecessors and presumably disgraced by her son's execution, she was unable to pay the rent on the house in which she lived, and her servants were taunted and cheated in the local markets. Mahidevran's situation improved towards the end of Suleiman's reign when her debts were paid at the Sultan's orders and a house was purchased for her, possibly by Suleiman's sole surviving son, Mustafa's half-brother Selim. Her last years, however, were not in poverty, for Selim too, the new sultan after 1566, as well as her stepson, put her on a salary. Her rehabilitation may have been possible only after the death of her rival, Harun Rem, in 1558. Financially secure at last, Mahidevran had enough income to create an endowment for the upkeep of her son's tomb, which was built by Selim. She died in 1580 and was buried in Mustafa's tomb. Depictions in literature and popular culture. In the 2003 TV miniseries, Harun Rem Sultan, Mahidevran was played by Turkish actress Hatice Aslan. In the 2011 to 2014 TV series Mutamya 1/4 Ziyar +or-L, Mahidevran Sultan is portrayed by Turkish actress Nur Fetihoğlu. See also, Ottoman Empire, Ottoman Dynasty, List of consorts of the Ottoman Sultans. Further reading, Park, Leslie P., The Imperial Harem, Women and Sovereignty in the Ottoman Empire, Oxford University Press, 1993, ISBN 0-19-508677-5. Yavuz Bahadır +or-Rawayu, Rezimli Osmana +or-Tarai, Nazil Yao +or-Nlara +or-. 15th ed., 2009, ISBN 978-975-269-299-2. References